The Enlightenment chasers. The Enlightenment chasers. Royalties of Peace. We are stilling the storms back to peace that has no storm while holding on to perfect peace. We are the Enlightenment chasers. This is our episode 54 of the Golden Age podcast by Maris Free Lefang. Today is Tuesday, July 1st of 2025. And we all, by now, could know what this month is all about. The celebration of the United States of America, of its journey of enlightenment chasing. We are called to first acknowledge the purpose of the enlightenment chasing in order to celebrate this birth year of its merit and not of our weaknesses. For the seed has become a tree. Let not our retardation deplete the truth of its sight. Yes, the United States of America may be a complex in acknowledging what age it is today. Technically, it could be commonly known to be 250 years, this 2025. By the 4th of July, or according to the nation acknowledgement of it being 249 years of age, this 2025. When we talk about the Independence Day, we talk about freedom, we talk about victory, we talk about the win. The winning comes with work being done. May not be perfect, but mostly accomplishment, fulfilling. Might say out of 100, we have accomplished 95. True, we may ask ourselves, why can we lose a 5% when we know who we are? The Enlightenment itself. when we know we are supposed to have 100%? Why do we have a 95% on the table? The cry does not mean we have failed, but rather testifying. Even though in the place of a battlefield, we know who we are, the victor. Even though we are on the journey, we know who we are. They already rested at the destination. We are experiencing an affirmation process of a perfect being, the inner sanctum. The inner sanctum of our being is what we are experiencing compared to the affirmation process. Like an obstacle in the way to the perfect should not deprive us from knowing what we should be celebrating. There might be complaints left and right. Only the acknowledgement is an affirmation process to the perfect. You must know the difference between dreaming and living the reality. What we experience is only indicating the wisdom we are. It does not mean we should do too much of it. Aware of the complicated states we have experienced in history, we do not want them to repeat itself, but rather we emphasizing on the good that we have accomplished and can increase if we practice to perfect. Our last podcast, episode 53, was enabled June 5th. So far, we have had some celebrations of excellence. For example, June 19th, 2025. Juneteenth, the celebration of freedom from slavery by the Black race of the United States of America, impacts the world because we all know that the United States of America is the miniature of the world. Like Cameroon is the miniature of Africa. The multicolor quilt, the rainbow, we chase to the pot of gold. 2025 is very significant. Juneteenth explained by your life boss, which indicated that every June 19th, a wave of red, green, and joy sweeps across the nation when people come together to celebrate Juneteenth. Must we ask then, what is this Juneteenth exactly? How this article expresses Juneteenth, the red and green, and joy that sweeps across the nation. Of all of this chaos, we must be able to realize that beauty of red, green, and joy sweeping through the nation. The light that shines in the darkness so we stumble not. Of all the chaos, like stumbling ground, let us appreciate the light that keeps us from falling, that keeps us from stumbling. The reason for the celebration of the independence day of the United States of America. The city on the hill, the light on the table of the world. The nation we look up to receive lessons and a blessing of its good deeds and strengthening from weaknesses. The end of slavery, according to Juneteenth, a physical expression of the greater trauma, might seem light, and yet still that mark for us to be careful not to cross. When we start conflicting each other, we must remember these significant days so we do not go too far with our weaknesses, but rather seek wellness. All these very significant days marked on the calendar is to assist us to come to awareness of our weakness and seek wellness, and not contradict the purpose of our ancestors, enlightenment chasers. The journey to freedom has been of milestones, achievement, with vibrant cultural celebrations. Juneteenth, like the 4th of July, the need for independence is the increase of knowledge and not rather of population. The gain, the win, the victory. According to the USA history, too, history of the United States from 1865 to present, marking the end of the Civil War and identifying the USA under Reconstruction. What is this Reconstruction? The affirmation process, for it had already been constructed. Therefore, we are only reaching the height of our reasoning. The increasing in knowledge indicates we are still in the dream to reach the reality. We are still about to awaken to reality. We are still in the dream. We are dreaming. And the dream must come to an end. The dream is a journey. We have reached the height of the traditions, reaching reasoning. The migration to America and within America seems like it has no beginning. If we have to talk about the beginning of America in general, when the United States of America is only the heart of the being, of the continent, we realize that the United States of America is not just hanging in the air. It is among its being. It is within its being. The continent America, like divided into two but one. Talking about the Independence Day of the United States of America is talking about America in general. Because the United States of America comprises of all cultures and all colors of a race and existence. According to an article online, which indicated several start dates of America counting its celebration of the journey to wisdom age. The reason we count birthdays, the reason we count the birth years is to reach wisdom age, which is why I bring in today Lord Erikson's 8 life stages of the human development. The Eriksons, Lord Erikson and his wife and his assistants, have done a great job in endeavoring to express these landmarks or milestones of the journey to the wisdom age. You may ask, what is the wisdom age? The wisdom age is eternity. The counting of milestones is only the awareness of our weaknesses. When the weakness is the dream, it cannot replace the reality. The awareness of the dream is to enable us reach the destination of reality. Counting milestones is to help us to realize we are on the journey to eternity, where we have no more milestones. Is perfection, the place of rest. According to the Eriksons stages of development, 0 to 1 has to do with trust and mistrust, meaning the need for hope. Age 1 to 2 deals with autonomy and doubt, looking onto self-will. 3 to 6 has to do with initiative versus guilt, the search for purpose. From the age 7 to 10, industrious and inferiority. Competence, in search of competence. 11 to 19, identity versus confusion, in search for fidelity, working with peers to identify self, fidelity. To identify self, to be genuine. From 20 to 44, intimacy versus isolation, the search for love, of the inner sanctum. At this point of intimacy and isolation, there is need for balance because both are very essential to enter into the inner sanctum. Intimacy and isolation the balancing between friends, individuals, when both are able to realize their needs are the same, similar and equal, to enter into the inner sanctum where we all belong, where our ancestors rest, awaiting us, of none left behind. And then we have the 45 to 65 of age, generativity and stagnation. Generativity must resolve stagnation in search for care, and that is family reunion. Reunion brings us back to the inner sanctum. 65 upward. Ego integrity, reversing despair. Such is the wisdom age, when the ego integrity reverses despair. Such is perfected in the inner sanctum. The USA on the journey to ego integrity. The power of integrity must reverse despair. Only possible when we come to that understanding of who we are, not the maker of nations, but the maker of one nation. That is bringing all nations back to one, the call for the United States of America. And all of its presentation today of alarms, only reminding us our true purpose was not to make divisions, was not to increase in number, but rather increase in knowledge. Because we are on the journey of none left behind. The journey of none left behind is entering into the inner sanctum of our being. Perfect peace. Let us reflect on this little accomplishment today concerning enlightenment chasing and understand the forces that work in us in search for individuals, in search for each other, very strong, should be redirected with knowledge. Of the journey's destination. Unity and love. Unity and love is all we can look forward to. Protesters does not bring us to division, but rather to ponder of the mind and increase in wisdom, to come to an agreement of the only means we can be together is of one mind. And such one mind can only be achieved of the inner sanctum, where we are one, indivisible. USA is about to be 249 years of age, technically 250, and His Excellency President Trump is shining light so that we can see the works we have left behind. Instead of resolving, leaving children behind is leaving work behind. How can we enter the inner sanctum leaving the children behind? Instead, the children are supposed to be in front of us, which is only possible by not bringing them in, but going to meet them in the inner sanctum. Hope this beautiful enlightenment fulfills its mission. And tomorrow we continue. Peace steals the storm back to peace that has no storm, looking unto perfect peace. Thank you.